You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme.
Hello, Femme. Welcome
guys.
back. So we have an extra special guest today. We have our episode on podcasting on our podcast, Podcastception.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Yes, a little podcastception going in. And okay, I hate to admit this. So we have a very special guest too on our little podcastception, and the entire ride in the car, I'm like, okay, Mike, he has an Italian last name. Fuck. What is the fucking Italian last name? Something Clemente. It's set in start. What does it start with? Give me a letter.
C.
Okay, I was close. See, email signature. Visualize.
C-A-S.
See, Casentini.
It's close.
Casa. Why so
Casamigos.
sexual?
Casablanca.
Casablanca.
No, it's.
You want to introduce yourself since we're doing a shit job right now?
No, it sounds fun, but
Okay.
no, it's Michael Casentini.
I wouldn't have pronounced it that way either.
Nobody
so,
does.
You know,
Nobody does. It's Casentini. It's Castatillo. It's Casantano. It's always ending in an O when there's clearly an I and I. When you see the I at the end of a name, you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who can get you out of jail. At some level, that's what it boils down to, doesn't it?
You got a guy.
Yeah.
You know a guy.
You know,
You know a guy.
I know several guys. Yeah. It's going to go down.
It's going to go down.
Yeah. We're going to take care of it for you. Do you need me to wash your house? When somebody
Maybe
tells you that they can wash your house, how amazing is that?
We all know what that
That's
means.
a full flush.
That's what I order, like, every month, every other month, actually,
Yeah, you should.
But I usually go Ukrainian.
I know you and your gold pipes.
You know me, Mike.
Come on.
All
So
right,
how you doing?
you
How
New
you doing?
Yorkers. Okay.
How you doing? Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. We're
fine.
going to be
We're
okay.
good.
We're going to do well.
We're gonna do
You
okay.
ready to play this?
We're ready to play this, but before we play this, we got to introduce our tea.
Ah.
So today, it's seasonal. It's seasonal. It's
I mean,
our
it's
favorite.
still
I can smell
The
it. I
same
actually can smell
sponsor
it from
that's
here.
not sponsoring us, Celestial Seasonings. God damn, please sponsor us. But don't. It's fine. Whatever. We're still gonna drink your tea. It's cinnamon apple spice, and just to add a spice, we thought it'd be fun.
Extra spice would be nice.
Uh-oh, you're getting naughty. Why did you get naughty?
We've had so many guests request it.
So many guests, and we thought.
Yeah, let's start it with Mike. Mike's going to be the perfect guy. Let's see how he falls off in the chair. By the way, in the studio right now, we're sitting at a custom-made table that I did myself at 42 inches off the ground with 36-inch stools. We're talking bar style. We're at a bar at the Network Studios here in Los Angeles, Culver City. And we have like hooks to hang your bag. And we're about to put Fireball in some apple spice tea. Here we go. Ladies,
I'm not
ladies,
measuring.
Ladies,
I've never done this.
I want to be honest with you. I've got the cops on speed dial. And if you touch me out of turn, I will be dialing 911.
You know Tessa will.
We're prepared.
Oh my goodness.
Kidding.
Here we go.
Just totally kidding. I don't know. I feel like this one got jacked a little less.
You're getting
And,
real
like,
serious.
I'm getting real serious. I think
you're-
Fireball is
The one who's never had hot toddy is the one pouring right now, just so y'all know.
Hi guys, sorry fam.
And by the way, I helped her with her computer, and I made it a special computer.
Okay, Mike.
Is it
We
still
don't
working?
need to talk about that.
Is it still working?
It's still working.
All right.
Actually, it's doing an amazing job. You know.
Are you serious?
far,
That's
so good. So
like, that's
far,
a
I can
great.
witness
That's a
this,
great thing.
Our
'Cause
editor yesterday we met with was like, this
Taylor
is
Brash,
sick.
by the way, she was on the show before.
Shout out to Taylor. Listen to that episode. She's fabulous. 6K footage, was it? No. Yes, it was 6K footage because I thought it was just 4K. 6K red footage, and it was moving along like amazingly
On your
fast
computer.
on my vintage, guys, vintage
that
laptop.
I helped to
MacBook Pro,
advance.
but still vintage.
Helped to advance to this moment in time.
You know what else you helped to advance? This fucking podcast.
Come on, guys.
Come on. So yes.
Well, let's do a cheers for this hot toddy
Yes,
because I mean, let's not let everything be. We have to figure out what
what this
what you
even is.
did.
I don't know. I've never done this. Here we go. Ready, guys?
Here we go. Look in the eyes. Look in the eyes. Well,
That
that's
is
cinnamon.
delicious.
That's cinnamon
Ooh,
and spice
actually,
and everything nice.
Yes.
All right, ladies.
Okay.
All right.
I'm feeling this.
Now I feel nice
But
and
I
warmed
feel
up.
really nice.
Yeah.
We should definitely do this more often.
There's a lot of Me Too happening right now.
So guys, we're gonna take it back. So because a lot of you guys have asked about how we ran with even starting a podcast and why do we sound so amazing, and thank you for always giving us feedback. And we are really proud of like the production quality that we have here and
the content.
and the content.
All
Hell
about
yeah.
the content.
All about the content. But Tessa, do you want to tell our audience why we even started a podcast?
So, we were starting to build our audience on Instagram and all the social media and like trying to get people to watch our short films. And, we had really supportive friends and family, but we needed to go beyond that. And it just wasn't really happening yet. Take some time, So we said, how can we get out there to a broader audience? Besides, the follow back bots and all that.
And there's only so many things like pictures of us editing can go for to speak on like what we're going through.
Yeah.
And we're like, what better way? And I think this is like, if you haven't listened to this podcast before, we're all about sharing our experience as we are a growing production company and what that looks like and trying to resonate with that same audience that isn't at that pro, like I'm working with John Abrams and whatever, and like getting shit together.
Yeah.
Like, it's that whole journey. And we figured out that podcasting is the best way to kind of build your voice and brand and reach out to everyone and share our projects and what we've learned. So
it allows us to share not only our story and, our projects and all of that, but the things we've learned with all of our listeners. And I mean, it's been awesome because we've had people that have given us feedback that aren't even filmmakers that love our podcast.
Yeah.
So like, it's really
just
cool.
being like, oh, this is a fascinating world you're living in. And I never knew that. So cool. Kudos. So when we were first figuring out, we were like, okay, should we do a home studio? But then we're like, we want to bring on professional guests. And like, I don't really feel comfortable bringing someone into my living room, though it was like a lovely living room at the time. Like, it's just, we wanted to step it up. So that's when we did our research. Oh, he was going to say something.
Well, I mean, when you said that at the time you had a lovely living room, I was like, it made me sad for a moment because I was only thinking, how shitty is your living room now? So we don't have to get we don't have to
It's fine.
We don't have to get into it, but
change.
I only hope that in 2020 your living room will take shape and that it will be something that you will love because you have to be in a living room that makes you want to live. So continue.
I mean, to be fair, I live in a studio, so I don't even have a living room.
Hey, you have a life room. It's a life room.
You're right.
It's your life is in that room. But go ahead.
Go ahead. So
we're keeping on. We're moving on.
Well, for these instances where whatever state my living room's at, we're like, we want to be able to not only come to a place where we feel really like we're bringing the best value of sound production to our guests, but the guests we want on the show, we wanted to also have a great comfortable working space where they feel like they took the time to not come to everyone do their own thing. If you want guests to come to your studio, cool.
Hey, some people have great living rooms for it, and some people also are willing to travel to guests. I'm not gonna lie, that would have gotten real old real quick. Like, no offense, guys, you have all been amazing guests, but if we had to travel for every single guest, like, I don't think I could do it.
Exactly. And then like, okay, so yes, as you can tell, we've decided we're gonna go the studio route because we can even do remote stuff really well here. So that's when we did our little Googling and we came across the Network Studios, where today we have the founder, CEO, entrepreneur, extraordinaire, comedian, part-time, full-time, don't know, but like also lives in his car. Just kidding. I don't know. But like
I actually was considering that this year.
I had a feeling. The living room situation like sent some signs,
My sister was on Tiny House Nation.
Oh.
What? That show on Netflix?
Well, now it's on Netflix, but it was on network.
HGTV, right?
It was on network TV.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't never had cable.
Or cable television,
Yes.
but nonetheless on a recognized cable network. And now it's on Netflix. Yeah, she and her husband built a tiny house, and now they have a child that they just produced in the last, few months or 6 months, and now that tiny house
Is even
don't
tinier.
don't look so nice. We all, as like normal people in my family, were like, but they did it, and ironically, through this business, I've got a show called Homeschooled with a couple, not couple by connected, relationship nature, but a couple, guy and a girl, who Tracy and Aaron, who do a show called Homeschooled, where they talk about how to do home improvement projects, other things related to the home, things that will bring the ROI up if you're thinking about selling about your house and all those kind of things. And
Totally.
they're talking to people about what you do, and one's more of a homemaker, and the other one's more of a producer in the hammer
They
and
need a
nails.
plumbing expert.
Let me tell you something. It's a thing. But they actually had the guy who hosts Tiny House Nation the other day, and I was like, remember this? Remember this house?
Oh my gosh.
It's fun,
Well, why don't you pimp yourself out right here about what your studio offers and who you are and what you move, like the moving parts here. I was trying to form that.
I know.
thought.
We're drinking spiced tea and Fireball on a Monday.
Things are about to go off the rails.
It's a late Monday, guys.
We're doing it hard here. No, I would say that, I started the network studios to identify with where I saw the internet going. As a web developer for over 25 years, websites had to always have sort of a couple of moving parts, whether it be text, which is not moving, but you have to have text, you have to have pictures, you have to have video and audio and these things. And then blogs became a thing, and then the whole podcasting space was kind of blogs on steroids, right? It was sort of taking this internet content to the next level. And with the advent of YouTube and other platforms that were sort of distributing the video content, and allowing people to put long and short form content out there, we're just seeing where the evolution of entertainment is going, quite frankly. I mean, it's really going to be left to us at the end of the day instead of Scorsese.
Yeah,
And
new media, babies.
Yeah, new media is
our next topic.
is the thing
it's a thing
that we're doing. And so I, as a performer in the comedy space, I decided to create a company that pretty much in the beginning of time was to help my friends. It was literally designed. This company started from the standpoint of helping my comedian friends.
How so?
To the extent that I wanted to take their internet. This is before, 2012.
Yeah.
We're talking about being in front of any Instagram influencer, anything in that space.
Yeah.
And so I really, and I've been in the game since 2000. So, for me personally, it was like, from 2000 to 2012, that's 12 years. So we're talking about identifying with what the next thing was. And I was trying to challenge a lot of my comedian friends to be podcasters. I knew this is what they needed to do. And
it's funny at that house, there's so many comedian podcasts out there, today now as well.
Well, and I'll get to that in a second. Quite frankly, my identity to the problem doesn't even look into what we're dealing with now as the evolution of it all, because at that point we as comedians had to build an audience to support the audience that potentially would come to a comedy club. You understand what I'm saying? Like now, rather than the comedy club market and promote their business, and they do to an extent, but they don't market each and every show beyond saying in their local publications, this is happening.
Right.
But before, they used to put a lot of money into it to build a room. Now they expect the comedian to bring the audience.
Do that, yeah.
Right?
And that's why they put them on at probably certain times and book them.
And that's why you see right now the comedians who probably aren't as funny as I am being in that room because they're able to produce the audience through that process. We've seen a flip-flop of like a lot of the game, you know, in the entertainment industry as it pertains to the comedy side.
And so many more open mics too because of that, I'm sure.
I mean, it's just dumb. But that said, I knew that we had to do this as a product. And one of the funny thing is that now I'm even seeing it from the agency side as that if you want to be represented and you don't have a podcast, it's harder.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The agents now are producing podcast studios in their own. You talk to Abrams, you talk to not ICM, but UTA, you talk to a couple of, you know, they actually are building podcast facilities within their space to actually allow
so
their
crazy.
talent to participate in. If they're not interested, it's unlikely you might be talent.
Which is wild. I mean, like we've talked about that just with social media, like how that's such a requirement nowadays. It's like it's going beyond that now. Like a podcast is a requirement. That's wild to me.
Yeah. And so I built this business out of that. And in that beat about, you know, these agencies requiring it, now you can't be just I'm in front of the camera or I'm behind the camera, take me as I am.
Right.
You have to be a multi-trick pony.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're broken.
Yeah.
And you're not worth their time. So everybody who
Right.
wants to enter into anything
Right.
right now
Yeah.
needs to realize you got to do more than one.
Totally.
And, you know, and I've always been that way. As
Same.
somebody who wants to know all things, I've always been that way. I want to know everything. I don't want to be
Word.
dumb.
Right.
And guess what, kids? I smoke weed. I drink alcohol. I have meat in my system. I do all of the bad stuff.
All the bad stuff. I love that.
But at the end of the day, I want to know all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for any of those our listeners out there who are thinking about starting their own podcast, like what are the, like, if you don't do this, like this specific, like have this specific tool, sound, or topic, like then you are like, because I'm sure now it's super competitive compared to like already as far as what's out
Yeah.
there. What is it that they should be looking for? The tools that they should be looking for so they don't just get lost in the masses, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The big do's and don'ts, I guess.
Let me unpack it. Yeah, I think that ultimately you're asking, you know, what should I talk about almost? What should I be about?
Yeah.
It's not, you know, because I mean, there's so many variables in podcasting. It's not only about the content, it's about how you structure the deploying of your content,
Yes.
how you involve engagement in your
Yes.
content,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
The fans want to participate in how you build that capacity or capability, rather, is, you know, with this really responsible design. It's like, you know, but content is king. People have to have a very sound product. I tell people, listen, you got an idea, find who in podcasting sounds like you, or that you can respect is on the same plane as your idea, right?
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And when you listen and you look through research, you go, okay, there's one, maybe there's two, maybe there's three. You've got competition. It's not bad competition. No. But competition is what you want, and then you want to go, how can I do it better than that? And it's not to poo-poo on them, because maybe at some level you want to be slightly different than them so that you can invite them on and they can invite you on, because one of the things about podcasting that you have to remember is that it's a community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's working for the same goal, and a lot of you guys will want to work together if you can.
Yeah.
If you're not angry at each other for some weird reason, but why would you be? You're remote and you're great. But you have to be on. The three elements of podcasting are you having a show that you're consistent about, that it works within the framework of desirable content that people want to, acquire, and that you have the capacity to work within the community. You have to be able to be, there's absolutely no podcast that I've ever seen become successful without hundreds of thousands of dollars to market it, that didn't have the capacity without that money to go after and being on somebody who is more popular than they were.
Yeah.
And being on someone's show that's more popular than yours is sort of humbling, because that makes you realize that, you have room to grow.
Hey, listeners, we're going to cut this short, but just so we can come back with a second episode because we have so many amazing things to tell you with Mike. So please stay tuned.
Yes, we'll be back next week with part 2 on podcasting.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in next time for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals over tea. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you leave us a great comment, we might give you a shout out on the show. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.